Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta, and the global commodity space has started 2023 in a strong way. Gold prices are headed for a third monthly gain in the month of Jan. Metals like zinc, aluminum and copper and commodities like sugar and rubber also are seeing a positive start to the year. But few commodities like silver are seeing a decline and trading in the negative. With major meetings like US Fed, monetary policy meetings in major banks ahead, how will the global commodity markets get affected? What is the outlook for Indian commodity sector ahead of the Indian budget session on Feb 1? To answer all of those questions, I am now joined by Peter McGuire. He's CEO at Exim Australia. Peter, hi, good to have you. And what a start to commodities. The first month of 2023 clearly seems to be closing on a positive note here. But then this week is so data heavy. You have the US Fed's first meeting slated, the Bank of England ECB meetings also in this week itself, the US Fed first. And what are you anticipating from that one?
Well, I think, and lovely to join you, Manisha. Greetings from Sydney. We sit here in trepidation. We're not sure exactly, and no one knows except Jay Powell, I would say, Fed Chair Powell, what his rhetoric's going to be and how he's going to read into, a turnaround as far as US equities over this month. There's been nothing short of outstanding. And the overall, I think, themes moving forward is inflation under control in the US. We've had oil prices up, now they've come back a little bit, so there's a fair bit of volatility across the markets and certainly a sinking US dollar that's fallen more than 10% in the last 3 months. So that must give him some lines of satisfaction, but I'm sitting here probably saying 25 is where we're going to be, and how he, I suppose, discusses that and relays that to the marketplace, that's what we're all waiting on.
Oh, absolutely. But 25 basis points from the US Fed and a possibility of a 50 basis point rate hike from ECB and Bank of England. What will that do to the dollar index?
Well, I'm no doubt that would probably, that's where consensus is, and I agree with that. So I think that's going to put a rocket under the euro, so probably 110, 111, and many analysts are saying it's going to be a 1.15 over the next matter of months. As far as the pound's concerned, I don't think it's going to do the economy any good, but it'll certainly probably strengthen the pound. We're sitting at 1.2325. So I think you're probably going to be looking at a 1.25, 1.26 in the short term. So I think further increases across the currency complex against the US dollar.
So the markets pretty much have factored this in. There's no surprises if this is exactly what we see. But any changes onto this, any guidance, any commentary that the markets are looking forward to right now? How would you look at precious metals to begin with?
Well, I think here, and I take a deep breath when I answer this, Manisha, we've seen a dramatic move to the upside for silver, gold in the last, 3 to 4 months, nothing short of outstanding. And even though it's sitting back here at 1920 or 1918, I got it on the screen here now, it's had a bit of a wipeout today, but it's had such a big move up. It's a consolidation phase. We're waiting to see what happens as far as Fed Chair Powell and the other central bankers. But I think that there is plenty of upside left yet for the precious metals, and there seems to be a major attraction with currencies being whipsawing and US dollar coming under much pressure to the downside, that retail are looking at certainly holding physical and, of course, paper markets.
All right. To the energy space then, and Feb 1st really is going to be a very busy day. You have the US Fed meeting, but you also have the OPEC and allies first meeting of the year as well. What are you expecting? Will this stay put on the 2 million barrels per day of output cut? That's what they've said for 2023.
Yes, I don't think that I'll see any surprises. And I think it'll just be, ticking the boxes and, handshaking. I'm not expecting any surprises, Manisha, though. It's easy to say that, and then all of a sudden something comes out of left of field. But they've had a nice move to the upside crude over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So that would be pleasing, I think, OPEC. And I think the consensus, there's issues naturally with that Iranian attack, and they're saying it was by Israel and a drone. There's also talks naturally with the Ukraine-Russia situation. So the geopolitics is still there. Nothing's flared it yet, but we'll just got to wait and see how that all works through the market as well.
So what's your sense on where do we see support coming in for the crude oil prices? Because the Russian supplies have just about continued. China reopening is another very positive factor.
Yes, I think so. It's been, and that's a terrific opportunity for naturally any oil exporter to be, pumping oil into China because of the huge demand, and they're open the gates, and it's game on, considering we've put Lunar New Year behind us and the markets are back open. People are, I think, embracing their freedom to some extent across China. That's what the word is, and naturally there'll be more travel and more consumption, so it'll be a strong point as far as demand picture. And I think that's a good sign, naturally, for all the producers, and certainly it probably will go very well for Russia in a lot of ways.
Also, what's your sense on the metals? Because the current week has seen some profit taking after, a stronger Jan. Most of the metals seem to be closing Jan on a positive note as well. But then again, you have the US non-farm payroll data on Friday. So there's no dearth of events and data coming in for this week. Any favorite trade that you see within metals?
Well, I'm keeping a close eye naturally on copper. Tin's had a dramatic move. It's nearly at 30,000 a metric tonne. It's moved up nicely. So is aluminium and zinc sitting at nearly 3,500. So all of them have really performed very, very nicely over the January period, Manisha. It's been a very good month. But where that moves forward, I truly feel that you'll see more demand and really China, restocking of inventories and really, taking the bull by the horns a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised it's going to be game on for, from commodity consumption. So I think that's going to be strong internal demand in China. And I think the overall picture could be quite rosy. As we know, there's a critical shortfall globally with copper and, of course, with a lot of the base metals as far as CapEx expenditure. So investment has been lean over the last matter of years, and that's going to come home to roost one day.
Oh, clearly that's a rosy picture really for the metal space there. And crude prices also could see some support with the kind of demand that China is expected to open up going forward in the days to come. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining us. So all eyes clearly on the US Fed. As of now, much of that has been factored in, but stay cautious on any surprises that really could be thrown in. With that, we'll stop for a short break. When we come back, we will talk about the budget because that's coming in tomorrow as well. And ahead of that, what are the expectations for the agro and the non-agro space that India could watch out for? We come with all of that after this break.
Invest once and enjoy guaranteed maturity with